So, Ian, tell us about yourself and your business.
So I'm chair of a not-for-profit called Link Community Transport Services. We provide transport services to people in the community who work off CHSP funding. The services are event-driven, or they're point-to-point for people to deal with loneliness or to meet with a general practitioner or events like that. But we also provide domestic assistance and home maintenance services to our customers.
Excellent, thank you. So, how has MyCashDashboard helped you in this business?
So cash is really king. So as I might have said earlier, my background is in has been in finance, and I think if a tool like this existed in my day-to-day life over the last 25 years, it would have been very useful. So what my cash dashboard does is really pinpoint exactly what the cash position is on a day-to-day business basis going forward and even looking backwards. So it is it's very useful for people in a governance environment like myself, but also very very pertinent in terms of management. And when you're dealing with businesses which are really high turnover, low margin, low asset backing in the corporate environment, you really need a tool like this to be very exact about what your position is. And so, from a governance perspective, I found this to be absolutely spot on.
Could you do you have an example of how it's perhaps helped you to identify pinch points or make decisions around the business or change direction, a specific?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, um, not-for-profits, in particular in the transport sector, typically work off grant funding, and have recently transitioned to lump sum grant funding to monthly payments. So that can be a trauma for businesses going from lump sum to basically a monthly payment. And with it, there's some implications as to ability to pay and the timing of payments. And in our particular situation, we also had a double whammy of also being required to pay certain lump sum back for unmet needs or needs that weren't actually called for in that particular quarter. And so we found ourselves in a situation where we potentially needed to pay money back and convert to a new cycle of working capital. So, from a governance perspective, we as a board really needed to pinpoint exactly our cash flow situation and net equity in a very particular way. But it could have been the same for a lot of other boards that I'm on. Perhaps even more cash-rich boards, which perhaps needed to redeem term deposits or anticipate what was required and due and payable. So a multitude of uses, but in our particular situation, we got down to a day-by-day prediction of what was in the business, what wasn't in the business, and we could tailor our relationships both with the department and with our clients and so forth in a very orderly way. So we made a very complicated situation a lot more straightforward. And so, in a decisioning sense, we could say, hand on our heart at any point in time, exactly what the cash position was. And that was something that we used to make decisions, but it was also one that we were able to use to, our chief stakeholder being the department and the chief funder, to demonstrate we were on top of things and we knew exactly what our position was and what it was exactly required of anybody else. So a very exact tool which provided confidence for all concerned.
Wow, that's a great endorsement.
Stephen, what I didn't mention is that I was a banker for over 35 years in corporate institutional environments and also in business banking. And a tool like this would have been tremendously valuable from a banker's side to receive information from their clients, particularly those ones which were growing very fast. And in fast-growing situations, the call for cash and the exact requirements for cash and understanding what's needed going forward is not always well understood. There's forecasting tools that are really very historically based, not very forward-looking. What my cash dashboard does is tell you exactly by day what the situation is and isn't. So something like this would have been very valuable to me as a banker to receive from CFOs, to demonstrate exactly what their needs were, particularly high growth companies who really do need support and a strong understanding of cash flow.
Ian, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'm joined now by Peter Hannon, who's a director of MyCashDashboard. Peter, you've heard what Ian has to say. What are your reflections on that?
Yes, thanks, Steve. Well, firstly, my first takeaway was that cash is king, and that's a sentiment we hear right across the board. That people that are in management and are in significant financial roles, CEO, etc., um, clearly want to be able to pinpoint exactly the cash position on a day-to-day basis. That's one of the huge advantages in my cash dashboard, that it enables companies and senior executives to look 12 to 18 months in advance at exactly their cash position. I think the second thing was a little complicated, that it also helps the governance of an organisation. It helps the management of an organisation. It helps the CEO and CFO, but it also helps external parties that you've got to negotiate with, like banks, etc. That you need to provide that level of information with certainty and to give those people confidence that you are actually portraying your business in the correct manner. And that's one huge advantage for my cash dashboard, that it does always look forward and not look backwards. And I think that's the third part that Ian clearly emphasised, that he has used other tools in the past, like MyOb, like Xero, and there are other competitors now coming on the market in that space that are always looking backwards and just extrapolating forwards that backwards position. My cash dashboard doesn't do that. It enables you to put all your data in and then to look forward with your projected sales and your projected expenditures in a certain position that gives you and all your third-party stakeholders, be it governance people, board people, whatever, gives them confidence that you know exactly your cash position 18 months in advance.
Thank you, Peter. That's a really great insight into how MyCashDashboard can help a business like Ian's and many others.